Hello and welcome to another episode of HinduDad. My name's Jay and I am delighted to introduce to you this week to my co-host Bhavish, who has decided to continue chairing his seat.
Continue to be resident co-host for the future to be. Let's see how we get on.
Let's see. And joining us again this week is my cousin Sunil. Sunil, thank you very much again for coming and sharing this time with us. So on this week's show, the topics that we'll be covering are the support that's given in the early stages of pregnancy, what that was like for somebody going through it 3 years ago, as opposed to somebody that's been going through it this year, while all things that have changed and, adapting to the new normal. So I guess let's start off with Sunil, because Sunil, you went through this about 2 to 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. Your experience is going to have been very different to mine and Bars, but I'm sure there's some sort of similarities along the way. But if we look back to this, let's go back to the start of the pregnancy. Once you'd found out that you guys were pregnant, and I know it's slightly different for you, but what sort of support was available for you in terms of nurses, doctors, information, advice, and so forth?
So obviously our situation was slightly different as well. Sima had kidney stones at the same time. So we found out she had kidney stones first, then we found out she was pregnant.
So finding out you were pregnant was like a sideline of...
Yeah, but we also had fear in our mind, because obviously the kidney stone, there could be complications, etc. So obviously in a normal pregnancy you would have probably 2 scans or whatnot, but obviously because she had the kidney stones, we obviously had more than usual scans, obviously, just to make sure.
So you're in the hospital a lot more frequently.
Yeah, exactly. So I think every 2 to 3 weeks we used to go to the hospital. Obviously they used to scan for the kidney stones, and obviously we'd see the baby at the same time as well. So
you cheated the system.
I've got to see baby probably at stages of development, seen just from a sac to small fetus, and then you slowly see the baby growing. So
how long did you have, obviously you said that you had to go every 2 weeks. How long did that last for?
To the end,
all the way through.
Yeah.
Wow. So you literally saw the baby grow all the way through.
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
Towards the end. Obviously once the baby's at a big enough position, you can't see the baby on
this is it.
on the full screen and stuff. So but pretty much from...
And as the baby, obviously once your partner hits the 3rd trimester, it's even more difficult to see what the baby looks like or what you're actually looking like.
Yeah, exactly. I think at that point they just check that the baby's healthy, heartbeat, functions, and all that stuff is all normal according to that stage of their kind of development. So I would say it's really good that you get to see baby at all those kind of stages,
those junctures process. I mean, so just for the viewers' sake, what hospitals were you using as well?
So North Mid, obviously I was born there. Yeah. So
you must have been there.
Yeah.
I said to Sim a lot, it would be nice if Origin's also born at North Mid as well.
I tried that.
I used the same line. I used the same line. It worked.
Did it?
She was considering Barnet.
Oh mate, I had a fist ironclad. Yeah. No, it's not happening.
Nah, I said, look, it's so local as well. For us, it's a 3-minute drive literally to the hospital. I said, you can't ask for much more. It's a brand new maternity section that there's good reviews about it. It's silly not to.
It's right on your doorstep as well. So
it's crazy not, but it was good that we did. Good that we did. How was it, obviously going from the scans, how was it when you saw the first scan?
Yeah, first scan, obviously just a sac, round circle.
Yeah.
I mean, let's take it back before that. Even just driving to the hospital for this first scan, what was your feeling that you were going through?
Yeah, I think you have probably loads of emotions going through your head. You just want to make sure everything is going through as it should do. You'll get all sorts of thoughts in your head. Fears and what if this happens or that happens, and obviously we had an extra kind of
anxious, excited, and headache at the same time.
That she was going through pain at the same time with obviously the kidney stone, and it was very nerve-wracking to kind of go through that as well. But I think obviously once the doctor kind of reassures you, or the midwife, you kind of feel a little bit more relieved and stuff, and I think that joy is just on another level.
How about for you, Bob? Did you get to go to any scans?
So for me, we had 4 scans in total. I was allowed to the first one. I'm just trying to think if I was allowed to the second one or not.
I mean, generally though,
I think I was allowed to the second, and then third one they'd accidentally booked in, which I wasn't allowed to go to in the end anyway. I had to wait outside, and it was at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, which did not help at all. Which I was like, yeah, fine, I don't actually want to go into it anyway.
I bet you were so relieved you didn't have to step on the ground, right?
Yeah, correct. So I was happy not to go in anyway, but I was like,
no offense to Tottenham fans, but
sorry, no offense, but I was like, my child's first time to visit a football ground. Yeah, even though he or she at that point is not in their senses and know where they are, they have to go to Tottenham. So I was like, okay, it's not good for me. But
does that mean Kaylen's a Tottenham fan?
No, he's supporting Liverpool. He's already got his Liverpool shirt. It's all done. It's all done and dusted. It's written there for him. A lot of people obviously have said, you live in North London, he will support Tottenham, Arsenal. I've said, look, he might be your top scorer, he might win you guys the league, but his heart will still be Liverpool through and through. So, I'm happy for that to happen. But yeah, in terms of the scan, it was
like, so the first one, what was the feeling like?
It was unreal.
What sort of conversations did you have with Priya on the way there?
I honestly cannot recall. Just excitement, right? You're just like, okay, you got into this, but what are you seeing? What's going to happen? We're thinking of questions also, what to ask at the same time as well, because it's the first time you're going through this, so you don't know what to expect, what the information they're going to give you, what they're not going to give you, because it's somebody's just there taking the scan, so you ask as many questions as you can. If they can answer them, they can answer them, but their job is, ideally, look, we're doing the scan, baby's fit and healthy, baby's okay, kind of, thank you, and you can ask your midwife the questions next time you're in. But yeah, we were just like, let's go see this, what's it like, you're just looking forward to seeing it, and then when you see the scan, you see,
did it become real?
Yeah, then you see somebody moving around, you go, oh, okay. But honestly, our child, through all the scans we did, he just wouldn't show his face. He was always faced away from the camera. I was like, why are you being shy? Your dad's not shy. Why are you being shy for?
Takes after Priya.
Yeah, well, she's not that shy either. But yeah, I was like, why are you not doing? And we were like, is this normal? Because always, all the scans we had just wouldn't show his face. Wouldn't go anywhere near, face up or anything. But at the last one, when they said, okay, he's head down, they were like, actually, that's a good thing, because he's now ready to come at any time. So in that sense, it was good. But we tried to do a 4D private scan.
Oh yeah.
Paid money to go and do this, and he wouldn't look, and they tried for ages. They're like, look, go outside, drink some water, drink some fizzy drink, jump up and down, keep active, come back. Half an hour later, we go back in, and again, and they managed to get like 1 or 2, and it was just side face or something. And I was like, this child just doesn't want to do it. So, but even when he was born, and even now, he still has that same pose where his hands over his face. Sometimes even when he's sleeping and stuff. So it's just something that they
it's his comfort position.
Yeah, it's a trait that they have, and he seems to like the position. It's like, yeah, go with it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
how about you? How was yours? Because obviously for you, it's been a bit of a different situation.
Yeah, I was one of those guys that didn't get to go in. So like, we have started off at the Princess Alexandra Hospital.
Okay.
And again, even till now, they're still not allowing fathers in. So what my wife did was, she was quite upset that I didn't really get to experience it, especially being our first child, like the first grandchild in the family and so forth. So she'd done a bit of research, and what she found was an app called My Baby Watcher. I fully recommend it. I can't give it enough praise. this app, this thing that they send to you, they'll literally send you from Amsterdam as well, overnight. It costs £65. We keep it for 2 or 3 days, and I think you get like 4 or 5 scans a day.
Okay.
Each scan lasts 10 minutes. You can record it. They can send you a laptop to use with it if you've not got a laptop. But the one thing that it does ask is that you do have a Windows machine, which for us was pretty easy. But one thing I will say is we actually took that out twice. We did it last month, and we did it at about 4 months in. And one of the things that I found, and I'll agree with you, because at the 3 month in time when we had it then, you could literally see the baby. You could see kind of like the legs, the arse, the head, and like one of the best moments for me was we was playing music to see what the baby would respond to, right? And I was playing Romeo and Juliet, and it was going on in the background, and then I must have said to it, "Oh, shake your bum," and literally you can see the baby move its bum and wiggle it to the beat of the music, and I was like, no way, that is brilliant. And you know, if I get a chance, I'll put it up somewhere on our social space so that you guys can see that as well. But yeah, like I'd fully recommend that if you're thinking about going for like a 4D scan or a 3D scan or whatever, and at the moment the availability on that is next to zilch. Yeah. So you were really lucky to get that in, right?
We were very, very lucky. I think we were pretty much, we got it in at a time just before obviously everything happened, and we're in a position to do it. So
I mean, if we look at it and put it into context, if you book a 3D scan or an additional scan, you're looking at roughly £60 to £65 anyway. And you're there for 5 to 10 minutes, and you've got to share that experience with some stranger, right? And if you're in my position was I couldn't go in. I was sat in the car park waiting while my wife went and did her thing. But yeah, like My Baby Watcher, we'll put a link in the description so that you guys can go and check it out. But I would fully recommend it. And one of the greatest things about this company is not the fact that they are in Amsterdam and they send you this product in 24 hours and then you've got it and they'll come and collect it as well. But we had a couple of issues with it. And when we reported those issues back, we reported it via WhatsApp. We reported it like stupid o'clock on a Friday morning. And lo and behold, on Saturday morning, we'd had a message back to say, we're extending your period of rental. We've given you an additional number of scans, and enjoy. And, you know, when you're going through that and you've got this whole thing, especially at the moment, like, it started to become a norm during those 3 days that we've got to do some tests and some scans, and you know, you get to spend time with the baby. So I can completely appreciate where you're coming from, where you saw the baby growing every 2 weeks, but you actually saw the baby, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that part of it, I think I'm really thankful for, which is something that, you know, a lot of people at the moment haven't been able to experience.
No, definitely. You know, and you know, like you said, having an app and a company like that do something like that actually will help, because not many people will probably be aware of it.
This is it. Like, I was really shocked to find it around, and especially the fact that at the moment a lot of the classes have been cancelled, and you know, like the prenatal where you go and you'll mix with people that are due at a similar time to you. You know, it works both ways for both the man and the female. Like, they'll both make friends in these groups and sessions, right? Like, you've spoken really highly about the sessions that you did.
So you know, like I touched upon in the first podcast that we did, these classes, I'll be honest, can't speak of, you know, anything bad about them. They were probably the best thing we probably did, because the NHS ones were cancelled, couldn't go to those, and you know, we were like, well, let's do private ones. We booked them anyway beforehand, because you know, a lot of our friends have said to us, actually, it's good for you to meet people same position, same stage as you, going through the same thing. You know, you guys will need that people to talk to all the way through, and yeah, you know, luckily now they are doing them via Zoom, which helps. You know, Zoom's helped many businesses over this whole thing. So, you know, it was a good thing that Zoom helped out with it. And you actually learn so much about the pregnancy, about, you know, the initial stages when the baby's born, about the labour stages, which you didn't know happened or will happen. And, you know, some of the things that you talk about and you find out just shock you, and you're like, oh, okay. You know, even the painkillers the women have to take or can take
Well, this is another thing, right? They can't really take anything apart from paracetamol. So
no, but as in during the labour itself,
Right, okay,
whilst
gotcha.
in the hospital, you know, when they can give you the
the
drug,
epidural and you know all the.
the pethidine and the gas and air. You know, a lot of people told me, you know, try the gas and air. I was like, not during this time where I don't know what's been going on in these hospitals. I'm like, let me just stay away from it. But yeah, everyone's like, hey, try it out. It's so good. I was like, no, I'm good. We went in the hospital. For us, it was like silly o'clock in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. At that point, I just want to take a nap. Like, I don't want to.
I mean, at least you had a short drive.
Yeah, that helped. That helped. But yeah, look, classes for us obviously were there as such, and we got to do them.
Sorry,
for the classes, you probably had to pick your one to pick.
Well,
one
yeah, we actually went to the NHS ones,
Okay.
which were, I mean, they were quite packed out because obviously they're free as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So everyone will make the most of them as well. But yeah, they're very insightful. Obviously, they'll give you all the you know, pre-birth kind of preparation, to what you need to do, the signs, obviously make sure your bag is packed, etc., stuff like that.
If your baby's hungry, what it will do and things like
that. Yeah, so all of that stuff is very insightful. Obviously, dilation, you know, what could happen, you know, if, you know, the waters breaks and all that kind of stuff. So for a man sitting there, you know, it can be quite daunting because you are listening to it, but sometimes you're not actually taking it in.
Yeah.
And then I suppose once it's like D-Day or the time comes, you kind of think back and you're like, oh, was I listening properly?
We did talk about that. We did pick up on that.
But yeah, it's they're very good, and plus you meet different people as well, innit?
Definitely.
Some people have had more than one kid who still come to these classes as well, which obviously they'll share their experience and stuff, and you know, things are constantly changing, right? So you know, there's new ways of doing things, etc. So yeah,
I think we're spoiled for choice. What it is the internet has brought, you know, like the way that we are as a generation now, and the use of the internet just makes things so much harder because there's so many different things that you're being told is normal to do or is the accepted norm. Like Reshma and I, we didn't get to go to any classes, and you know, we did look around, but the dates didn't match and things like that. But essentially what we have done was we went on a course from the council that's provided online, and you know, Hertfordshire Council, I'm sorry, but it really does suck, like to the point where we watched so here I'll break it down. What happened is we were watching the videos that they put online. The presenters that they've got recording these videos are literally reading off a laptop screen. So if you picture, this is the laptop, there's two of them sat here, the camera is shooting from up there, so we're looking down on them in the first place, and then they've recorded in an environment which has just got a fan going on in the background and all this background noise. So what made it even worse than that was you finish watching the video, you go onto the modules, and the modules are literally what they've just read out. So like why
there's no like emotion or like personal touch to that. It's like they're just reading off the screen.
It was like, don't get me wrong, she put some emotion into it. She wasn't just flat as like, you know, sometimes they are, but I guess it bugged me more coming from a creative perspective that we could have done this so much.
Well, I was going to say, you know, you might want to put your services out there to them and say, look, you know, we can record these things for you.
Hey, Hertfordshire Council, if you're listening, hit us up. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of things that can be done. There's a lot of things that are going on, and it's evident that we don't necessarily know everything that is out there. But you know, as viewers, as listeners, if you've experienced something and you've been through, you know, or you've been to a course and you think that we might find that valuable, I know I certainly would, because I've probably got the least experience out of all the boys around this table. But you know, like any signs of support, anything that we can share with people going through their own pregnancies at this point.
So there was a course which Sima went on. It's a pregnancy yoga course, which is actually quite good for childbirth as well. Like teaches women how to like breathe and stuff like that. And the partner can come along to these courses as well. So
really?
It was actually quite a good course, you know, because it taught her how to, you know, breathe.
Did you get involved in the yoga?
Yeah, I used to drop her off to the classes and stuff, but
he got involved by
that was
dropping her
it.
off.
she used to obviously like do it at home as well. And I used to, we got the big medicine balls and stuff, and she used to do it in the house and stuff. And there was pressure points, which I don't know whether her teacher told her. So we actually did it the day before she actually went into labour, and pressure points on the back of on your feet, which actually worked. So
I think I might need to get you to teach me some of the pressure points, bruv, because Reshma, that's all she cares about at the moment is how much her feet hurt. And you can't blame her, right? Because we don't know how much it feels like walking around with
we
baby.
don't know half of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're starting to get there, innit? Now you're carrying him yourself.
Yeah. He's good. He's good. The thing is women that have to go through the emotions, the pain, the change in their body, etc. It is something. It's difficult for them, and we as men don't really understand it.
Well, do you know what? I think like half the fact is a woman spends, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be derogatory in any term or way, but women probably take a little bit more care about how they bring themselves across and how they carry themselves and their appearance, right? So going through all these changes is going to be a mental thing as well as a physical thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
While she's sitting there watching you stuff your face and not putting on any weight.
No, I actually remember after birth, obviously Sima had an operation afterwards for the kidney stone, and she'd expressed the milk for baby, so I had to do like literally all the night feeds for Origin and stuff, and you actually realize how many times, or especially when you're half asleep and you need to feed the baby, and at that point I actually feel for women who do this, and it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
Feeding, you got to stay up to burp him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then put him back to sleep again.
I'm half asleep when I was doing it, and there were times obviously I thought he's fallen asleep, and as soon as I put him down in his bed next to me, he would wake up. So there was probably hours where I was lying with him in my hands and stuff, and like
not enough.
I know it's not a good thing to do, but it's tough.
How about you?
Couple of weeks? Well, first couple of weeks we were both getting up. Probably say the first month we were both up every single time, whether it be feed, whether it be nappy change, or whether he just randomly wakes up and just wants to be held for a minute and put back to bed. We were both getting up. Then it got to a stage where I was like, look, I really need to get a bit more sleep, because it's just affecting me working wise. I know I'm working from home, but at the same time I still need to be functioning in the mornings. So I don't get up as much anymore. But to be honest, he likes to sleep a bit more, so which is good. He's taken after me on that front. Yeah, that's it. But at the same time, when you do hear him, you automatically do wake up.
Do you find you're a lighter sleeper now?
On occasions, it all depends. It all depends on the night before. If I've woken up a couple of times, then the next night I'm just conked and I don't know what happened, and I wake up in the morning, I'm like, Priya, did he wake up last night? Because I didn't hear it. She's like, yeah, he woke up a couple of times, and I'm like, oh, sorry, yeah. No. She's like, yeah, you were snoring. I was like, I don't snore, it wasn't me.
I've had that quite a few times.
But you must be getting to some sort of regularity in your sleeping pattern though, right?
Yeah, now it's actually so much better. Obviously he's in his own room now, and we normally take him up about 7 o'clock. He's walking and he's talking and he's doing all of that stuff now. So he's a proper little man now. But yeah, he's in his routine now. So he'll actually sleep out throughout the night. But I think it's the initial, obviously, settling him into bed, reading him a storybook.
That's what takes the time now, isn't it?
And that's what takes the time. And you're sitting there obviously there's obviously different methods of, some people will say just put them into their bed, read them the bedtime story and then walk out. But I think if you've started something, and then it's quite hard to kind of slowly come away from that. But he's in his routine now. But I think initially, you would spend at least an hour or so trying to settle him into sleep.
Who got to sleep quicker, you or him?
Well, I was, obviously when you're coming back from work and stuff, it's definitely hard. You've been traveling and then you come home and it's second shift.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, most people don't really factor into account how much of a toll traveling takes on you, right? It's only now that most people have stopped traveling to work that they see the benefit and the difference in how they feel at the end of the day, right? So I think we've actually run out of time, gents. So what I'm going to do is call it a pause there, and I will invite you all back next week, and we'll be discussing what we discussing next week, Bav.
So next week we are
going to be discussing the cultural obligations and the things that, well, not family inflict, but the things that family want to do prior to the baby arriving, and as a Hindu, the cultural obligations that come with that, and how we've had to adapt those in these times. So make sure you tune in next week. And I just want to say again, thanks very much to our guest today, Sunil, and my co-host Bav.
Thank you very much,
anything else from you boys today?
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Okay. This has been HinduDad. My name's Jay. Peace out.